19 COVID stories. Stormy weather. May 2021. Lockdown, in all its innumerable variations, had been a bloody nightmare. But Amari was now striding down the plush corridor towards the open office area. Every muscle in her body felt energized by her first inoculation, her skin silky against the inner lining of her dark business suit, her feet strapped into heeled sandals, her shoulder bag held tight at her side. It felt so good to be back at work. The irony of that thought almost made her laugh out loud. Not only had she been part of the creative team for the Home Office Day information film on the government website, it was she who had produced the layouts for the trite little kitchen scene itself. Interior, day. Spaghetti is simmering on the induction cooktop whilst the modern empowered working mum sits at the strip pine kitchen table working on her laptop. Cut to husband upstairs, also working hard at his desk, so he can be free for the children after lunch. Cut to twins, further down the kitchen table, log out of their online singing lesson on their iPads and start painting in watercolours. Cut to close-up of Zoom call from the office, where colleagues hold up working mum's advertising layout and give a big thumbs up. Cut to working mum slaps her laptop shut and, smiling up at the twins, calls out in her playful pirate captain's voice, "Aha! Who's hungry?" The twins chorus, "Hooray!" Amari's first home office day had been somewhat different. She had spent the entire morning screaming at her laptop on her kitchen table, desperately trying to recover the layouts for the Home Office Day spot that she had accidentally deleted, whilst the water for the spaghetti had simply refused to boil, and the twins, sitting further down the table, had kept bickering and flicking paint at each other. Every 5 minutes the office had rung, demanding the layouts and obviously very pissed off. Her husband had been absolutely no help. Confronted with his own deadline, Kenton had gone into his usual fuck the family lockdown of his own in his room. How come she didn't have a room? Disaster had struck as Amari had reached across the kitchen table to pick up her mobile and accidentally knocked over the glass of painty water full of brushes onto her open laptop. The screen had immediately broken up into grey static. On cue she had screamed, the water for the spaghetti had boiled over, and the twins had started chorusing balefully, "We're hungry!" Lockdown had been a bloody nightmare, all right, but it was over now. Kenton stood alone in the middle of his family living room. The chaos surrounding him was awesome, like a jumble sale organised by sufferers of Messi syndrome, or a piece of installation art depicting long-term familial captivity. In a feeble attempt to make a start at clearing up, he picked up a sweatshirt, folded it carefully, looked around for a place to put it, and then just tossed it back on the floor. It was as if during the lockdown, he, Amira, and the twins had flooded the apartment with themselves. Now it was over, the sluice gates were open again, and they had all rushed out, the flood subsiding, and had left behind all this debris. And yet, a part of him had to admit, looking at the debris now, he felt rather fond of it. At the sight of the twins' matching socks, brown and crusty, half hidden under the sofa, he broke into a smile. Kenton had always been very self-disciplined. A screenwriter working at home, he had to be. Every morning, after waving Amira off to work and walking the twins to school, he had taken his coffee up to his room and started writing the obligatory 5,000 words a day. This morning, with the easing of lockdown and the reopening of the schools, he had intended to resume the same routine. But he wasn't upstairs writing on his laptop. He was standing around in the messy sitting room, feeling sentimental about the twins' crusty socks. A mirror swept onto the office floor, an archipelago of cubicles, each a little island of hushed concentration, their occupants either hunched over a desktop computer or talking quietly into a headset phone. As Amira made her way towards her own little island, colleagues looked up momentarily, smiled and nodded. Everyone was happy to be back. She pulled out her swivel chair, sat down, slid her shoulder bag into a drawer and switched on the desktop. 1, 2, 3, 4, and ready to go. Her screen burst into life and brought her to an abrupt halt. The screensaver was a photo of herself with Kenton and the twins she had posted during the lockdown. They were all bunched up together on the sofa, laughing at the camera. Kenton's gaze was no longer focused on crusty socks under the sofa, but on his old battered clarinet case lying on top of it. This was an old hobby he had dragged out at the beginning of lockdown, much to the twins' delight and to Amari's incredulity. Opening the case, he assembled the pieces, stuck in a new reed, squeezed onto the sofa and started to play Stormy Weather. This was the only tune Kenton ever played. He hadn't taken lessons for years, didn't practice properly, and had never followed any kind of procedure. He simply enjoyed struggling his way through Stormy Weather. It was the only thing in life he had always allowed himself to do badly, with no ambition or hope of advancement. On this occasion it was no different. His fingering and breathing technique were as untidy as the room he was sitting in. As he fumbled his way through the melody, his eyes surveyed the jumbled beauty of his family's clutter, each discarded remnant describing a moment during their happy confinement. The open painting set, now dry and cracked. A single sheaf of white paper covered in wild, messy brushstrokes. A glass coffee mug with the red imprint left by Amari's lipstick on its rim. Interior, later. The large, scruffy living room of an upper-floor apartment with large windows looking out over treetops. Kenton, equally scruffy in jeans and t-shirt, is sitting on the sofa, philosophizing about mess, whilst playing Stormy Weather badly on the clarinet. Enter Amari, his wife. She is wearing a black business suit, carrying a shoulder bag, and holding her front door keys, an indication that she has just got home. She leans against the door frame and looks at Kenton playing. He looks back at her. He finishes playing and rests the clarinet on his lap. They both smile.